All right, guys, Eric Paul's with 95 Sports. Going to be getting into the Barbasol Championship and also the Scottish Open outright bets. For the Scottish Open, we're also going to be talking about some ownership leverage, some players that are a little bit over-owned and under-owned, maybe some fades or some guys you can get on. We're also going to be talking about some first-round leader bets and some showdown picks for the Scottish Open as well. We're going to start off with just kind of looking at ownership leverage, and then we'll be getting into the outright bets. So let's get into it. All right, so just looking at it right now, not going to put any filters on it. Just looking at it right now, based off of the salary here, like we can see the theme that's going on. And the nice part about last week was the fact that there weren't as many like elite options. So there were like drastically overowned players last week. So it was easy to kind of fade some of those guys. Where this week, especially in the top end here, like they're all good plays. So the ownership is getting spread out amongst them. So really no one's overowned than they should be. Now you could make the argument that Kyle Morikawa is a little bit overowned. And as current ownership, people are valuing him as a top 10 finisher. And really that's the reason why you would roster him, is because you think he can get a top 10 finish. You think he can win, but it is risky. I think everyone that's playing him knows that he's risky. He just has been playing well this season. And I'll be getting into I'll show you guys this real quick. Like 71st place finish here last year. His most recent start was a top 5 finish. That is what people are hoping for with him as a play, is that, hey, he found something in his last start. He's good to go. But really on the season, he's sucked, especially lately. Over his past 10 starts, just hasn't been that good. And, people are just overvaluing him a little bit. And I'm not saying it can happen. I'm just saying, like, I'd much rather go with these safer plays that have just as much upside. Same thing kind of with Hideki. Now, Hideki, I also don't mind as a play. Hideki, missed a cut at the Scottish Open 4 years ago. That's not a big enough reason to fade him. Recent form-wise, top 10 in the field, that's pretty good as well. Stat rank 26th in the field. Like, he's an okay play. Just, I don't see the point in playing him when we have some other options that are right around his price point that are just as good and have just as much upside. Like Sam Burns, Will Zalatoris, you could easily go with. Jordan Spieth should be able to make the cut. Sungjae Im is pretty underowned, and compared to Hideki, they're kind of the same play. I know Sungjae is coming off of that miscut on the number, but that's probably why his ownership is reduced as much. And how he's currently being valued is only as a top 30 finisher, which, I would mostly say people are just worried about him missing the cut, because, if he makes the cut, he's definitely going to finish better than top 30. That's just kind of how it goes with him. But just looking at some golfers that are a little bit overowned, we'll bump this up to, 7%. It's like Aaron Rai. I do really like as a play. I just kind of hate that he's getting bumped up this much. So, like, he's not a bad play. Obviously, a former winner at this course. Like, you love that from him. Was able to follow that up with a 35th place finish the year after that. Missed the cut in 3 years ago, and then 4 years ago finished top 10. Now, that was at a different course, but still, you like to see that he's played well at the Scottish Open. And he also has made 5 straight cuts in a row with, a 9th and a 13th place finish mixed in there. The problem with him as a play, not the best specialist, and not the best stat fit. Like, he could struggle this week, and he is starting to get to the point where, do you have to play him? I don't know if you do. Sure. Are like HV3 and Munoz as safe a plays? Maybe not, but at the same point, they are good plays. And I'll just kind of show you guys here. So, like, comparing Aaron Rai to HV3, like, you can get him at much less ownership, just as good of a play. Same thing with someone like Sebastian Munoz, like, good enough play at a cheaper price tag. And then I also do really like Jordan L. Smith. I know he's not getting pumped up that much, but he's going to be a decent play as well. So these are the decisions that you have to make for yourself. Let's just go a little bit lower here for the ownership leverage. Like Christian Bezuidenhout, we just don't have to play him. And we can see the theme here. These DP Tour players that are, okay flyers, they're kind of just getting overvalued a little bit too much, I think, just because it is a Scottish Open. And I don't want to call it the obvious, but there is a reason why they're on the DP Tour, not the PGA Tour. Like, they're just not as good of players. But they do have course history. A lot of them, like Victor Perez has course history. Lucas Hobart has some great course history, and I think people are just kind of defaulting to that a little bit more than they should, which I'm not saying is wrong. Like, Victor Perez has upside. He's a risk-reward type play. Going a little bit lower, like Terrell Hatton, the recent form hasn't been there. Good course history. So that's kind of the theme that we're seeing there. Tommy Fleetwood, kind of same thing. but his recent form hasn't been terrible. I'm just looking at golfers that are a little bit under-owned. I already mentioned this. The golfers that are under-owned are all the top plays because, well, they're all good plays, and thus the ownership is spread out. So then they are all a little bit undervalued than they should be. The one player that I want to call out, Sanjay M. I already touched on that a little bit. He's a little bit, too under-owned. Keegan Bradley, decent stat fit, decent specialist, decent recent form. Like, he's a little bit under-owned this week. Matt Fitzpatrick, decent play. Billy Horschel and Harold Varner III are definitely going to be more under-owned than I thought they would be. Sam Burns, we're starting to get up there. These guys are pretty much properly owned, max home properly owned. So I feel like we touched on that enough. Let's get into some outright bets for the Barbasol Championship, and then we're going to be talking about the Scottish Open. So switching over into the Barbasol Championship, I need to click off of the player. So switching over into the Barbasol Championship here, I do want to start off with Mark Hubbard. Mark Hubbard is really just kind of a standout play to me. Finished 20th at this course last year, has made 5 straight cuts in a row on the PGA Tour, which we'd love to see. The worry with him would be the fact that his recent form is great, but he just hasn't had those like upside finishes. Really, last week was his best finish in a while. And so that's the worry with him. Maybe you just lock him into a top 20 bet, but stat fit wise, good enough. Model rank, top 6 in the field. Like, he's a golfer that's really just coming in, checking all the boxes. I can see him winning. Probably everyone's favorite bet is going to be Chris Gotterup, and I don't really blame you. Strong specialist, given the small sample size that we have. Same thing, stat rank, recent form rank. Like, we have a small sample size on him, but it really wouldn't be shocking to see him continue to play well. Those two are kind of the golfers on the high end that I'd feel comfortable with outright betting. Adam Svensson, I see more as a top 20 bet. You can make that if you want to. Let's go down to John Huh. So John Huh missed a cut last year at this course. That's a worry, and he's coming off of a miscut. Okay. Stat fit wise, though, top 20 in the field. Recent form rate, still not too bad. Specialist wise, 7th in the field. Like, we can see miscut on the number, bogey on 18, 13th, 20th, 25th, and 12th. Like, the recent form had been there enough. He could easily go out and, find himself in contention and just finally be able to put it together. Like, that wouldn't be shocking to me. Lee Hodge is kind of an interesting name. Made the cut last year. 4 straight make cuts in a row. If you want to put an outright bet on him, you can. But the outright bet that I really like the most, I think, is Kelly Craft. I feel like it's a little bit sneaky and also decent. So he finished 2nd at this event. Not last year, but 2 times ago. Specialist rating could be better. Recent form is kind of interesting. 3 straight make cuts in a row, which we do like to see. I'll pull them up here on the player profile. Recent form wise, 24th, 56th, 13th, miscut, 49th, and 15th. So we have seen some upside mixed in there. 3 top 25 finishes, 3 top 15 finishes. Like, that's good enough. 21st best stat rank in the field. Like, he is casually just a good play. He's a golfer that I could see kind of putting it all together. I kind of hate to say this, but like Ryan Brehm, the alternative event, I forget which one it was now, the event that he won before the Players Championship, like, looking back on it, that was a terrible outright bet, but it won. I feel like that could easily be the same as Kelly Craft here, where they're kind of at the same price point, kind of good enough recent form coming into the event, showing a little bit. I could see him winning. Like, it wouldn't be that shocking to me. Ryan Moore been playing great as a recent 5 straight make cuts in a row. They're seemingly getting better. That's up to you guys. Austin Cook, good course history, 47th, 4th, 3 straight make cuts in a row, with 2 of them being top 16 finishes. Like, that's up for you guys to decide if you want to do that as well. Sorry, alarm was going off. Let's go a little bit lower here. Like, I think the same thing would apply for like Josh Teeter as well. Josh Teeter has had a little bit hit or miss recent form on the Corn Ferry Tour. We can see the really strong course history. That's because he has those local ties. He's a Kentucky boy, so it wouldn't be shocking to see him play well. Vaughn Taylor is more of an outright or more of a top 40 bet if you want to go that route. Finished 42nd at this course last year, 3 straight make cuts in a row. He's just a good enough player that should be able to make the cut. And if he finds himself making the cut, I could see him winning. Let's go a little bit lower. Marcel here. Okay, so Marcel, very interesting golfer to me. So he has finished, top 20 or better in 4 straight starts on the DP Tour. Also on the DP Tour, decent stat fit, decent specialist. Like, he's someone that I could see continuing to play really well, find himself in contention, and maybe just finds a way to put that all together for a win. Then the last golfer that I want to mention is actually going to be Michael Kim. So Michael Kim finished 72nd at this event last year. He's a terrible stat fit based off of the PGA Tour stats that we have. And really, like, that's, if we're going based off the PGA Tour stats, he's a terrible play. But what he's been doing on the Corn Ferry Tour has pretty much just been top 25 finish after top 25 finish. Given the fact that he has played this course before, I could see him potentially finding himself in contention to win on Sunday. And thus, maybe he's able to put it all together. Like, I don't mind that. So just to recap, like, I am looking at Chris Goddard, Mark Hubbard. Those are two strong outright bets to me. John Huff, if you want to go that route, you can. I really like Kelly Kraft as an outright bet. And then going lower, like, I do like Marcel. And then just kind of a flyer to me is going to be Michael Kim as well. But now let's switch up and get into the Scottish Open. So Scottish Open outright bets here, guys. We'll start with win rank, and it's kind of interesting because all these golfers, like, they are the best golfers in the field. Like, where do you just bet the top 8 and hope one of them win? Because I kind of think one of the top 8 are going to win. Like last week, like JT Poston was 5th in the field, and then just kind of heading into the final round, you would say Denny McCarthy and Scott Stallings were probably the next most likely to win. They were 6th and 7th in this. So this tool continues to hit. Like, you just bet on, like, the golfers that were most likely to win rank here, you're profiting this season. So, not too shocking. A lot of the big names have been winning this year. We haven't had too many random winners. But I do expect that trend to continue. So for me, like Patrick Cantlay, I do like a lot. Patrick Cantlay has obviously won a lot over the past year. I can see that continuing. Again, he's a strong play this week DFS-wise, so it's no shock that that's carrying over as well. John Rahm as well. So like these two, I think, are great starting points for an outright betting card. Yes, John Rahm 12-1, not the best odds, but this is kind of like the perfect course for him. He's played well at this event in the past. I'll pull him up here just to see what he's looking like as well. So like John Rahm, 7th at this event last year. We can see top 3 staff hit. Recent form-wise, second best in the field. Like, he has just been playing good golf this whole season. The problem with it is that he hasn't had those upside finishes. People are kind of hating on him because he hasn't had those upside finishes that we've come to expect from him. That's going to be up for you guys to decide. JT as well. JT, I think, is a great outright bet as well. And I hate this, but like the best outright bets this week are the top plays. Like, it is what it is. Like, some weeks it's just like that. And some weeks it's kind of pointless to go off the board. And I think this could be one of those weeks. So at this event, he's finished 8th and 9th. That's really good, obviously. Besides that miscut after his victory, been playing good golf. Like 37th place finish in his last start, not great, but 3rd after that. You can see kind of just coming in, checking all the boxes. JT does make a lot of sense to me. And then the problem with this week, we got Matt Fitzpatrick, who lost in the playoff last year, but great course history. Xander Schauffele finished 10th at this event last year. Both are great outright bets. Like, I could, and if they weren't coming off of victories, I would definitely place them as outright bets. And I think I still might. But like, so far, I really love Patrick Cantlay, John Rahm, JT, Xander, and Matt Fitzpatrick. Like, I think we could just cut the betting card off right there and then just be done for the week. Kind of like last week where I said, if Webb, Simpson, and Adam Hadwin bring their A game, I see them winning. That's kind of how I feel about, like, and you just cut your betting card off there. No need to like risk any other money. That's kind of how I feel about these 5 right here. Now, like Sam Burns, definitely hit or miss. Sky Scheffler could easily win. Cam Smith could easily, Sanjay. Like, there's a bunch of good golfers that could win. But I'm going to stick with like those top 5 guys. But if we were to go to longer shot odds, like I do really like Ryan Fox. Ryan Fox has been playing really well on the DP Tour, really for his whole season. We can see he's just been rattling off, good staff hits. Had a miscut, but just been playing some great golf there. And the DP Tour ranks out 5th best in recent form rank. Obviously, that's really good there from Ryan Fox. 51, great number on him. But we can go lower. Like, there's some other really good outright bets that I like at like cheaper price tags. Jordan Smith to me is a very interesting one. If we go very low here, let me scroll down that far. So Jordan Smith, his course history is interesting. So he's won miscut 36, miscut 32nd. So if that trend continues, maybe the good outright bet would be to bet him to top 40. Okay, maybe that might be the best route. Recent form wise, ranks top 15 in the field, and his recent form has been solid. 24th, 8th, 10th, 24th. Like, the recent form is good enough there. Like, could he find himself potentially in contention to win on Sunday? Potentially. I do think he's a much better like top 40 bet. But these golfers a little bit lower on, and if you watch the core plays video, I'm on them already. Eduardo Molinari, has great course history, strong specialist, like course history wise, 18th, 49th, and 3rd. He did miss a cut 4 years ago when it was at a different course, but 3 straight made cuts at this course with the top 20 finish. I'd love to see that from him. And then recent form wise, 35th, 24th, 21st. Good stuff there. We can go further with that with Molinari. So he's at a 5th, a 9th, and a 6th place finish. So it's not like he hasn't had upside recent form wise. And it's not like he hasn't had upside at this course as well. Like I could easily see him putting it all together to be in contention come Sunday. And really then he just has to find a way to win. And then another one, same thing. I already mentioned this guy a little bit. Bajorn, like course history wise, 26th, 19th, 62nd, 19th. Like that's good enough. Recent form wise, been good enough as well. Like 23rd or 20th, 23rd, 7th, 23rd. Like in good recent form, he also has shown that upside. Now, do I expect these DP Tour guys to beat out the PGA Tour players? Not really, but they also have in the past, so it definitely could happen. And those are definitely longer shot bets, and maybe the safer bets are going to be top 40 bets on them. But that's for you guys to decide. Like I really do like that, especially if you're going to go for longer shot odds. And then just looking at first round leader bets, right now I haven't seen like a huge weather advantage either way. The weather keeps changing though, pretty much every 8 hours it seems like. So maybe this is something you wait to bet on until we really get the weather news, or maybe you cash out some bets before lineup or before the tournament starts. That's for you guys to decide. But right now, as it says, Patrick Cantlay number 1, Scotty Scheffler 2, Rahm 3, Xander 4, Neiman 5. So I would imagine you could get a decent amount of like good odds on Joaquin Neiman. And if you are chasing the AMT time, he does have the AMT time. You could go with that. John Rahm as well. AMT time, I like that. JT's been so hit or miss with the rounds. Like if he sucks in round 1, should be a good round 2 shot on pick. Cam Smith, not surprising. Cameron Young, not surprising as well. That guy has been a stud in round 1. And maybe that's where you play Cameron Young. I don't think he has an AMT time. And typically I like to just go with the AMT time because that's when the weather is typically a little bit easier. The greens aren't as beat up. That 1 or 2 little ball movements right next to the cup could mean a stroke and could mean a first round leader hitting or not hitting. That just kind of is what it is. But after that, like I don't really think we need to force anything too much. Now, sure, if you're trying to like really chase golfers that have the AMT time, you go a little bit further down. But for the most part, like I do expect one of these top name guys to have the first round lead. And that being said, these guys are going to be the same strong showdown picks as well. But that's all I have for you guys for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a like, subscribe. If you guys want to join 9 to 5 Nation, the best value in PGA DFS, please do. It's $10 a month. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. And as always, let's keep cashing.